Happy Fragrant Friday, Fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here at That Cologne Guy, coming at you with a new review. How are you doing? Happy Fragrant Friday to you. And as always, this is the channel that welcomes you to your weekend. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I hope you are staying safe, healthy, and positive during this seemingly never-ending pandemic that we are in. Stay strong, folks. So thank you for checking out this episode. This, of course, is Tonka 25 by Labo. And before I dive in on the review, let me quickly say, yet again, we have had an absolute US Open stadium full of new subscribers, and I really appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, check out my channel trailer here. Bottom line is I am a small yet spirited channel. I am unbiased and fiercely independent. So the bad news is I am not sponsored, so unfortunately I don't do a lot of giveaways, and I don't have tons and tons of bottles to show. The good news is I am basically a twin of Jeremy Fragrance. I get told that a lot. I know you agree, and I certainly concur. So that's the good news. The other thing, too, of course, is that I use a 5-spray system in my reviews. At the end of each review, I give a number, and then I put that number of sprays or dabs onto myself. My episodes are a little bit different. This is my hobby, of course, like you. I love what I do, very passionate about doing the reviews, love them, but they are not infomercials. For me, they don't run as infomercials because, again, I'm not sponsored. I am on a limited budget, and so every episode I do is really an evaluation process of a particular fragrance on whether or not I would purchase it and add it to my collection. And therefore, I tend to be a little bit nitpicky on things, and I like to look at all of the nuances of a fragrance to experience the brand, the house, the bottle, the fragrance, etc., etc. And I enjoy going into depth of a particular fragrance. So welcome aboard. Really appreciate all your support. Always remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like the content, please forward it on to your fellow frag heads. All right, so with that out of the way, let's go ahead and dive in on Tonka 25. So usually I talk about the nomenclature. Usually I talk about the name. The only thing I really have to say this time is Elin reached out last week, and she mentioned that apparently Labo is known for giving a name of a fragrance for which that note is not the dominant note in the entire fragrance. And that theme continues this week, because this is called Tonka 25, but I probably would have called it something along the lines of Orange Blossom 25. I don't know, but Vanilla 25. But Tonka is certainly not the most dominant note. That's the only quirky aspect of the nomenclature that I would add. And then in last week's episode, which was Thé Noir 29 by Labo, I talked a lot about the house and their website, so you can check out last week's episode here. And in that, I talk a lot about the house and where they're coming from. So when it comes to the notes, here's the thing about this one. You're going to get a vanilla, I would have said orange, but it's orange blossom. You get a vanilla orange blossom blast. The initial blast is really floral in the beginning. The first 2 hours of this fragrance is quite floral. Then after that, the cedar and to some extent the musk start to heat up. So here's the thing about this fragrance. If you are a niche company, this was actually, this episode was a little bit difficult for me in terms of the rating, because I really appreciate the fact that there are two seemingly different fragrances going on here. So in the initial blast, you have the vanilla and orange blossom, and then with every hour, the musk and cedar really take the forefront. So you have two. You have two diametrically opposed fragrances here. because it's a niche company, I have to say I really appreciate that one. The originality factor is high here. I can't think of another fragrance that smells exactly like that within the same fragrance. If you like linear fragrances, you will not like this one. If you like fragrances that really develop over time and smell different on people's skin, on different people's skin, you will like this fragrance, I think. So something to consider. I feel like I want to pay respect to a niche company that took a chance. The originality factor is quite high. Now, the question becomes, though, is do you want to live with either aspect? Meaning, some people really like, for example, the initial blast, which is the vanilla and the orange blossom, and then other people are going to like more the cedar and the musk. So the question again becomes, can you live with either one? I have to say, for me, this is not incredibly versatile, but I did think of a scenario in which this would be worn. And that is, to me, on my top 10 lists, I often do different categories. Instead of like 10, 9, 8, I will have a category. And one of the categories I have is a romantic night out. So a fragrance I would wear to go out to dinner, dancing, live music, whatever, but a romantic night out. Then I have a category for romantic night in, where you stay in the whole time. And I would absolutely see this fragrance as something that I would choose as a romantic night in. So I was thinking about this, and here's the perfect scenario for this fragrance. In 2 words, I would say ski resort. Okay? Ski resort. What do I mean? Here's the scenario I want you to imagine. You and a date go out for a weekend getaway at a ski resort. Okay? The weather is really, really bad, and the instructor has just informed you that that day's lesson has been canceled. So you unexpectedly have a full day in your cabin when it's incredibly snowy outside, and you now know you're going to stay inside in your suite and cabin the entire day. So what you do is you decide to cook a nice meal and break out a couple of bottles of wine, and you decide to have a romantic night in. So the thing I like about this one is the first 2, possibly even up to 3 hours, as I said, are going to be quite floral. So think about this. You're cooking the food, you're getting it ready, you're eating the food, you're sipping your wine, and then right after the meal, when things start to heat up, literally, because you're going to move over next to a fireplace, and things start to get more romantic, then this one starts to dance dangerously close to a fragrance that I personally do not like. Maybe you do. Starts with a K. I actually kind of detest it, really. For those of you who want, which one? Go ahead. Yep, you. All right. Yep. Koros. So this one has an animalic note that heats up with each hour. This to me is kind of like Koros for people who don't like Koros, because the cat pee element of Koros that I despise. I don't understand why people... Look, I like animalic notes. Civet, don't have a problem with it. But when it comes to the cat pee fragrances, I just don't usually get those. The one exception is Amouage Gold that I actually have a bottle of, and it is fantastic. So Koros just doesn't work for me. I don't get it. And this one has a very strong animalic note, and it dances dangerously close to Koros. So that's what I mean, is it's such an interesting fragrance, right? Because on the one hand, in the first 2 hours, it's very floral, and then it starts to turn animalic. This is clearly a fragrance that I would choose as a romantic night in. You have to give it to me the next time you're watching a show, or you actually go on a ski resort, to a ski resort, you will think of this fragrance and this beloved channel. You will. You'll be driving down the road and you'll be thinking, no, should we go to a ski resort? Wait a minute. TCG. Yep, it'll happen. So I would choose this as a romantic night in. I see this as eating some wonderful Mediterranean food, having a few glasses of wine, and then after that, right when this guy is starting to turn animalic, and the cedar is coming to the forefront, and along with the musk, then this is when you're by the fireplace and things are turning up the heat, literally and figuratively. So there you go. That's what I have. This one actually, I'll just do seasons right now. This one is clearly a fall winter. That's why I chose the romantic getaway ski resort situation. This one I would definitely not use for the office. Good God. And I would definitely not use it for the office. I will say this. It did very well in the heat. So let's go to projection and longevity and sillage. When it comes to longevity, I did get a 6 to 8 hour out of this work shift. And that's with me being outside quite a bit and relatively hot. The temperatures are dropping, but it was around 75 to 82 around there. So it was relatively warm, and I was outside a lot, and it did really well in that heat. So I certainly appreciate that about this fragrance. 6 to 8 hours, you will get a work shift, again, but don't wear it to work. I guess it would be a romantic night in worth as long as your romantic night in lasts 6 to 8 hours. So there you have it. When it comes to season, fall, winter, definitely a evening / romantic fragrance for me. Let's go, and then as I said, 6 to 8 hours on the longevity. Projection is also quite good, about an arm's length away for the first 2 or 3 hours. That's when it's really floral though, and then it starts to settle and get closer to the skin. See what I mean? It's going to draw the other person in toward you right when you're right next to the fireplace with a bottle of wine. Doesn't get much more romantic than that. You have to give it to this fragrance in that sense. It's not versatile, but it does hit a home run for a romantic night in. And I appreciate that about this fragrance. So, and then sillage is quite good. Again, I see it as a close encounters fragrance. And so, coming in and out of rooms at parties and things, I don't know that you would get too many unsolicited compliments. But if you're looking for a fragrance that is perfect for snuggling, then this one certainly fits the bill. When it comes to age, I would probably say, I see this as slightly mature, but I'm gonna go 30 and up. I don't really know why. I would exclude the 20-year-olds. I just feel like it's slightly mature, so I'm gonna give the arbitrary number of 30 and up. Now let's talk gender. Actually, this one is of course for women and men. It's a unisex fragrance. Here's the thing. It is clearly in the unisex range. I will say this, I enjoyed the fragrance on my skin. I personally didn't find it too feminine. I think guys who find this, some guys are going to find this too feminine because of the initial blast. Some women are going to find this too masculine because of the bass notes. So you see, that's what I mean is you will either like this or dislike this fragrance for the same reason. Some people will love the complex nature of the diametrically opposed notes on this, and then some people will be turned off by the fact that it's not linear, and they'll only like one part of it. And at this price point, which is what, $284, I think it was, for 100 milliliter 3.4 ounce, a lot of people might be turned off by that element in this fragrance. I certainly understand where you're coming from in that sense. So again, not a versatile fragrance. I've already mentioned the occasion. I wouldn't wear this to the office. I wouldn't wear this to during the day. I would keep this in my collection for that unexpected, spontaneous, ultra romantic night in. So there you have it. There is Tonka 25 by Labo. One thing I'll mention too, in the bonus features of the last episode, I mentioned where I got this. So check out the final 2-3 minutes of that episode. Again, in the bonus features, I talk about where I got the sample, but I'll quickly say I got this at Nordstrom's in the Bay Area at Westfield Mall in San Francisco, which is actually, I think, Westfield Center. I don't think I'm supposed to say mall, but it is at Nordstrom's, and the representative for Labo and Diptyque is Dinah, and she was incredibly friendly and nice. and engaging, and she gave me 2 samples. So if you guys do buy in the Bay Area, if you buy Diptyque or if you buy Labo, make sure you go to Nordstrom and buy them from her. She was very kind to give me this sample. All right, so there you have it. I have really enjoyed Thé Noir 29 and also Tonka 25. Let's talk about, though, the rating that I would give for this. I have to say that this is a 3 out of 5 for me. I pay my respects. I tip my cap. I pay homage to the fact that a niche company is really trying to do something original. I really do. That said, I can't say that I would rush out and buy this. I would probably snag it again if I could get it at the price I'm looking for. Here's the problem I have with this fragrance. If I'm looking for romantic night in fragrances, that's a tough market because there are so many snuggling fragrances, right, that are perfect for that. And I can't say that this one beats it. I certainly appreciate it, but it does get the label of it's nice, but so I'm gonna go 3 out of 5 sprays for this. Some people might say more 2, but again, I want to give props to the originality factor about Tonka 25. The nose behind this is Daphne, and you're going to have to excuse me. It looks like a bougie, actually. It's Bugey. I don't know where she's from, so I don't know if it's Bougie or Bugey. I'm not sure on her last name. Bugey. And she also did He Would, which is a fragrance that I really like. But I think that's where I would have to say. I would say I'm not sure that it would be up to snuff in this category of romantic night in, although I really did appreciate this fragrance. 3 out of 5. If I saw it discounted, if I got a 50 mil, if I traded for it, I would absolutely wear it and enjoy it. I just think it's something that might not make the cut for me at $284, I think it was, dollars for a full size bottle. All right, so there you have it, folks. Another review by the Vord. I have really enjoyed it. 3 out of 5. I'm going to go 1 on each side of the neck, and then I'll go, just for sillage sake, I will go 1 on the back of the neck. The fact that I'm putting this on, saying that I would never wear this to the office, then I'm doing this review and heading to the office. Yeah, the irony is not lost on you. I know that. All right. So, boom. And all right, back of the neck. And I really enjoyed all of the samples from my trip to the Bay Area. This is the final one. Next week actually will be slightly different because I will be introducing a top 10 list for fall fragrances because, oh yes, fall is coming, or autumn. And then after that, I have a top 10 request that I'll be working on. And then I'd like you, if you haven't already commented, please comment down below and let me know if you would like to see any top 10 list or to see me pursue any particular topic that you would like regarding fragrance. If I haven't done it already, I would love to do that in the next few weeks. Like I said, I'm taking a little break in September of the single fragrance reviews, and instead I'm doing some lists, some themes, and I'm looking forward to that. Hope you're doing well. Take care, and always remember, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. With that out of the way again, I will talk about the notes. In the first initial blast, you have orange blossom and you have the 1, 2, 3. Some people really like the initial blast, which is the orange blossom and the orange. 1, 2, 3. You will get a romantic night out worth if your romantic night in 1, 2, 3. But if you were looking for someone to snuggle and nuzzle on your neck, that indeed could happen in 1, 2, 3. And here we go. We're going to go 3 out of 5. This is a special moment because it is the perhaps I should put it in a drum roll, the final dab of at least the month, maybe a year, who knows. All right, the final dabs. The final dabs. Another series of awkward dabs brought to you by That Cologne Guy.